Motocross, one of the most exciting and spectacular sports in the world, is probably also one of the toughest. Yamaha have been involved in motocross since 1972. Each year, Yamaha factory team riders compete at the highest level of motocross racing, the World Championship Grand Prix. In 1982, Yamaha's main goal was to retain their 250cc world crown, brilliantly won in 1981 by Neil Hudson. For the 1982 season, Neil moved to the 500cc class, and Yamaha chose American Danny Laporte to defend their 250 title. Here, at the motocross circuit of Mill in Holland, scene of the Dutch 250cc motocross Grand Prix, the 8th round of the World Championship, Danny was in tremendous form as the championship entered the final phase. Despite determined opposition from his main rivals for the championship, Georges Jourbet of Belgium, Kees van der Van of Holland, and Yamaha teammate Dave Watson from England, Danny convincingly won both heats. Before the championship started, nobody could have imagined that an American, in the first year as a Grand Prix rider, would be leading the World Championship with only 4 races from the end. Let's listen to Danny's reasons for coming to Europe.
When I was about 12 years old, I started racing motocross, and I always thought of racing in Europe because I'd read magazines and newspapers, and that was the ultimate to come to Europe and race. I never even really thought about racing so much in the United States. I'd almost always wanted to race in Europe.
One of the most motivated of world motocross stars, Danny did not take long to adapt his racing and lifestyle to European conditions.
I planned on coming to Europe about 4 months before the Grand Prix started because I wanted to be very organized. And it took me about 2 and 3 months to really adjust to Europe. Not the food or the traveling or the people or the different country, but just being so far away from home. It's easy to leave your country and come to another place, but the hard part is this finding friends. It was difficult for me to, make a phone call and call up some friends and go do something. So I had to make new friends, and it didn't take so long. And then it only took about 3 or 4 weeks actually before I started finding friends, making phone calls. And once I started getting busy and training every week and running and testing my motorcycle, I was so busy anyway.
Even minuten en 55 seconden zijn er verreden. Daar moet Danny nog wat aankomen. Goed oversteken, dames en heren. Houd de baan helemaal bij dat. Peter van der Nieuwenhof. Peter op de mooie 10e plaats en laatste ronde. De finishvlag gaat gehanteerd worden door Willem Kinderman, de sportcommissaris. Daar is Danny de Vos.
This is the beautiful Boan circuit in West Germany, the 7th round of the 500cc World Championship. Oh dear. The awesome power of the 500s has broken the old starting system. Yamaha's #1 rider in the 500cc class, Sweden's Håkan Karlqvist, is seen here at his best, followed by teammate Neil Hudson. Karla won the first heat. Pre-season favorite for the championship, he lost any chance of being champion before the season started. He crashed in an international event, badly injuring his arm, causing him to miss several Grand Prix. Here in Boan, he was back in top form, winning the first moto, but a crash in the second moto, caused by a rider he was lapping, seriously injured one of his fingers. Denied the chance to be champion by injuries, Karla's double win at the Grand Prix in Luxembourg proved that he was still the man to beat in the 500 category. With Karla so often missing from the starting gate, it was left to 1981 250cc champion Neil Hudson to defend Yamaha's honor. He finished third in the championship in his first season as a 500cc rider, a highly credible performance. In sidecar motocross, riders and passengers wrestle 100-horsepower monsters round Europe's toughest motocross tracks. Yamaha hold a dominant position in sidecar motocross, with almost 100% of the riders using the XS650 twin engine as the power plant for their outfits. The potential for the development of this engine was quickly realized by sidecar competitors, and most engines are now brought up to almost 1000 cc, the category limit. By creating their XS twin engines, Yamaha have greatly contributed to the development of sidecar motocross racing. For 1982, Yamaha's main hopes for the championships were Dutchmen Ton van Houten and Fritz Kigen, champions in 1981, West Germans Josef Brockhausen and Hubert Rebel, and the Swiss team of Emil Bollhalder and Karl Bisser. Here at the Dutch Grand Prix, disaster struck the defending champions Van Houten and Kigen. Despite their brilliant start on the first moto, they were badly injured in a crash on the first lap. In spite of this handicap, the Dutch pair finished in third place in the championship, behind new champions Bollhalder, Bisser, and second place Brockhausen, Rebel. In 1983, Ton van Houten will use the Yamaha TR1 V-twin engine in his attempt to regain the world crown. With the TR1 V-twin, Yamaha will try again to set the pace in sidecar motocross. Back to the 250cc action. Here in Hyvinkää, Finland, the penultimate round of the championships, Danny Laporte, Georges Jourbet, and Kees van der Ven will go to the line, separated by only a few points. In Heat 1, it was Laporte leading Jourbet and van der Ven.
I enjoy racing in Europe because the tracks in Europe are all so close compared to the United States. In Europe, I enjoy traveling and racing in Europe better than I do the United States because in the United States, the tracks are so far apart. And in Europe, you can race in 10 different countries in only 6 or 7 hours from where I live here in Belgium. It's really a central place. Everywhere you go in Europe, you have a different track. France has their own idea of what a motocross is supposed to be like. And Belgium, the tracks are different. In Holland, they're different. So everywhere you go, Italy, the tracks are completely different. They're really fast in Italy. They're fast basically and hard in France and Italy. And Belgium and Holland, they're soft. They're just different. Everybody has their own idea of a motocross track.
In Heat 2, the order was reversed. Van der Ven, Jourbet, Laporte.
My competitors in Europe really aren't so much different than the competitors in America. They all want to win. They're all in very good condition. But the difference I learned in racing in the United States and in Europe seem to be a little bit more consistent. They're not as aggressive, as fanatical like riders. They're just a little bit more technical, a little bit slower in some respects, but other ways are faster. So you just have to custom yourself to riding with them, because I don't think you can consistently come here to Europe and race as I did in America, race against Europeans. So I had to change my style a little bit according to the type of race.
Danny now had a 15-point lead over Jourbet going into the final Grand Prix in Sweden, a comfortable position for the Yamaha man to be in his first season of Grand Prix racing. Vimmerby, Sweden, 29th of August, 1982. Danny Laporte's Day of Destiny. Danny did not have to win to be champion. All he had to do was ensure Jourbet would not get too far away from him. Danny's fellow countryman, Donny Hansen, came over for this race and won both heats. In Heat 1, Danny conceded 4 points to Jourbet and 2 to Van der Ven, leaving himself an 11-point cushion over Jourbet for the final moto of the championship. Danny did not need the cushion. From the start of the last moto, he quickly moved into second place behind winner Hansen to win the championship. Jourbet crashed soon after the start, and even though he bravely fought his way to finish third, he had lost the final battle of the championship. Winning the World Championship at his first attempt, Danny Laporte has achieved a unique record. Not only had Danny to overcome established world stars on their own ground, but also Europe itself.
I hope that I could stay here for probably 4 more years. I'd like to race the 250cc World Championship class 1 or 2 more years, and then ride the 500cc World Championship class. The 500cc World Championship race is probably my ultimate goal in racing. It's always been known as the heavyweight class in motocross. Whether it is, I think it's difficult to win a championship in the 250cc class as well as it is in the 500. But the 500 has a title that's different than all the others.
Without doubt, Danny Laporte has made a tremendous impact on the European motocross. The partnership of Yamaha's motocross technology and Danny Laporte's riding has brought Yamaha 2 titles already. Danny also helped to win the prestigious manufacturer's title for Yamaha. For both Yamaha and Danny, 1982 was only one stage in the history of motocross. A very long history, which Yamaha, as the #1 manufacturer in motocross, is proud to be a part of.